Hey, it's Jackie Eister Songistry coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana. I have with me Randy Richardson. Hi, Randy. How are you?
Hey. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. So how have you been? What's been going on? And can you tell us about you and your music?
Yeah, been playing a lot lately. Got my band's been rocking lately. We've been playing a lot of festivals and stuff like that. And I got a little recording studio that I set up here at home. So I've been working on songs for myself, songs for the band, doing radio spots, things like that. And besides that, I've been working a lot.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you know what? Since you've been playing for a very long time, when did you start playing, and what was your first instrument that you played on?
Well, the first real instrument that I, of course, started learning was the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
But I was actually a little bit of a late comer to it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually... when I was young, the first thing that really struck me was back in grade school, they had these horn players come in.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my music includes horn lines and stuff like that. I've always been big into that.
Mm-hmm.
And they had, this ensemble come in, and for some reason the trombone player just struck me as being really cool,
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I actually wanted to play was trombone, So I approached my parents with that, and my older sister played the clarinet. So they were like, well, here's a clarinet, close enough,
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't actually really last all that long. After that, I wanted to play drums for years. That one didn't fly either. Eventually, when I was, they weren't down with that.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually we arrived at the guitar, and, I didn't really pick that up till I was maybe 16, 17.
Wow.
Yeah, but after that I took to it like a fish to water.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you did.
Yeah, I dived head first into it. Started taking lessons with a local guy, Herb Moore. I don't know if you know Herb Moore or not.
No, I don't. I've heard of him, but I've never met him.
Yeah, well, I went to him for a few years and just, practiced.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was your? Did you start out with rock, classic rock, jazz, country? What was the one thing that attracted you when you started playing guitar, or were you playing a variety of things?
A little bit of variety. When I first started, I would have to say it was a classic rock type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was into Hendrix. I was into Hendrix big time. I was into, Zeppelin, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also talking about the early 90s. So a lot of what was going on there was also influencing me,
Mm-hmm.
Like the Chili Peppers. I was big into some punk rock bands, like Goldfinger, Les and Jake, also, Bad Religion, stuff like that, too.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But, again, it was the early 90s, so even, I got a pretty open mind when it comes to music.
Right.
So, even rap, I was into, Cypress Hill, all those things influenced me, and I think you could tell that by the songs I play.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. When I asked you for a variety of music, not many people can do that. Not many people can do that, and I was really surprised that I can't. Well, I shouldn't even say that. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. I can't say I'm surprised because it seems like you're one of those universal players that can be placed anywhere and just start playing. You know what I'm saying? So I have to give you kudos for that. Complete kudos.
Thanks. Yeah. I always felt like that myself, that, just everything influences me, and I think it comes out in what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I have total respect for for a band or a recording artist that has a sound.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people will say, well, this guy, all his stuff sounds the same.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, I like an artist who is diverse and
Mm-hmm.
can do everything.
Right.
Which I understand, and that's great. But, I mean, I also give kudos to someone who has their own sound, and, basically, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
If you like your sound,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Stick with it.
Right.
But it's a double-edged sword. You can be pigeonholed at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Well, see,
So maybe I just shoot for diversity.
Right. No, you're right. And see, that was one of the reasons why I created Jackie Eister Songistry, because I was out running around and on the internet, I should say. I was out running around on the internet, and I was listening to all these different bands, and I'm like, wow, and it just seemed like I would ask them questions and stuff, and some of them were like, yeah, they give you little answers and that's it. And, once I started really getting out there and noticing all these great bands like yourself, and oh my God, there's just a ton of wonderful musicians that are like worldwide that, believe it or not, nobody's heard. And what I'm trying to do is bring you guys all in and get you flowing, like in that jet stream type thing. So it's going around so that people here can hear you. But not only people here, but I have all these different bands from all over the world now that I've interviewed, and I'm playing all their music, so they're tuning in. So we got Germany, we've got France, we have Spain, we have, all these different countries that are now coming and listening. Oh, well, you're going to be playing my music. That's cool. I'll tune in, and I'll have other people. So now the music that you have in New Jersey is not only just going to here to Indiana, but it's also moving out to other people. So that's that's what I was looking to do.
It is awesome, and that's today. I mean, we never had an opportunity like that before now.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's
in the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
It can go everywhere.
Right. Well, the thing is
a common person could do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Randy, the thing is you have to have one person that's interested in doing that. I mean, anybody can come to you and say, hey, Randy, I want to play your music, and play it one time and be done with it. You know what I mean? And what I'm trying to do is introduce you and your sound to other people, so they're like, hey, you know what? I heard your music. It was being played with my music and this other guy that I met through, Jackie Eister Songistry. And, hey, we'd like to play your music over here. I have somebody that would like to, you know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm trying to do, is spread the wealth. Let's put it that way. I mean, nobody's getting paid for it. But in the same token, your music's getting heard in, maybe a little bit more places that you have it now. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and it can't be more appreciated. And it's people doing what you do, it makes the world to someone like me who is trying to make songs but can't necessarily do everything and get it out to everybody. The more people like you that contact me
mm-hmm.
and help out like that in whatever form, a podcast, making a website, just telling friends, all that stuff. Just, it just helps out immensely.
Oh, thank you.
Just stuff I couldn't do on my own.
Well, see, I don't mind helping. That's the thing. A lot of people are kind of taking it as, well, what are you going to do with my music? And I said, well, I'd like to, introduce it to other people. And they're like, oh, well, how do you plan on doing that? And how far are you getting? And, my stats are going pretty good. I can say we're pretty steady. I'm only once a week, you know what I mean, with my podcast. But at this point, I have over 2,300 plays. And, I think we've been going now almost 4 weeks on one day a week.
Yeah.
So that's not too shabby, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, numbers don't lie. That's real good.
And I make sure that I let my artists know, hey, because you'll have your own little slot, and you'll be able to watch your own numbers too. So, the only thing I'm asking you to do is I will send you a copy of it, and you just place it on your page. Hey, this is my interview with Jackie Eister Songstree. That's all I'm asking for. That's it, period.
Oh, I'll be doing more than that. I'll be spreading the word.
Well, thank you. Well, anyway, let's...
my friends told them.
That's cool. Well, let's get more into you now. As far as like your writing techniques and stuff like that, is there like a special recipe that you use to write your music?
No, not particularly. It's just whatever strikes me as being cool is cool. I am, I guess, a little bit more of the, some people say, oh, I write the music first, then I write the words. Other people do the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if I had to define things, that I'm a little bit more of the write the music first and then put the lyrics to it type of guy,
Wow. I've never done that. See, I'm the reverse. I have to write the words first, then I'll sit down and I'll start singing them. And I have tried to do that. In fact, when I worked with Frank Mayo, Frank was like, why can't you? I'm like, dude, I'm coming up with nothing. I would sit there and he would play this beautiful melody. And I'm like, I got nothing. Nothing's coming to mind. So, I take my hat off to that. I think that's awesome that you can do that. I can't.
Yeah, it's just the way it works for me,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most people, I feel you're right, do it the opposite way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's unique to be able to do that. So,
I don't know why. I've always been a little backwards, I guess.
No, not at all. I mean, everybody has their own style of doing things. I just, when I hear people say that they do that, I just get mind blown. I'm like, wow. Because I've tried. I've tried so many times. And I'm just like, got nothing. Sorry. I go write something and then I'll be back.
Right.
But no,
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that also, like I said, I have a recording studio over here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a home little, it's hard to call it a studio, but, I record over here, and a lot of times that's taking place at the same time as I'm writing the song.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really concentrating mostly at first on sound,
mm-hmm.
the sounds that are going into the music and the textures that are going in there. So at first, that's what preoccupies my mind.
Right.
And then once everything is, sounding like how I want it to, I start putting concentration into the vocal.
Right.
So I think the two things end up going hand in hand and end up influencing the way that I'm writing.
Mm-hmm. I think that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. See, I love to hear stuff like that. And that's another reason why there's so many artists out there, Randy, that are trying to get their music out and stuff like that. And, believe it or not, maybe what it is that you're doing may be what they're lacking. That's another reason why I do this. So that other musicians are listening going, you know what, I should try what this guy is doing. Maybe this is something. And you'd be surprised. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, But anyway, let's get on here. Do you have any particular bands or anything like that when you started playing, what was there any one person that drove you that really made you want to play guitar, or, just the one person?
Well, at first, I was all about Hendrix.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, in my earliest days of first picking up the guitar and him being such a phenomenal and experimental guitar player, that, of course, played a big influence on me. Hendrix especially, he's known for being very innovative with, guitar pedals and things like that, and people usually know me as a pretty big guitar pedal guy. I'm into experimenting with all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to just the playing of the instrument. I like to have a wide variety of sounds to choose from, and that might come from, maybe an early influence, of Hendrix or David Gilmour or something like that, who experimented a lot with those types of things.
Now, do you play upside down left?
No.
No? Just curious. I like to when anybody says that they play, they loved Hendrix, I always ask, do you play upside down left? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, just checking.
Too complicated now. The regular way is hard enough.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, tell me about some of the bands that you've worked with. Have you ever opened for anyone or, actually gone on tour?
Yeah. Did quite a few, tours. Out to California a lot, down to Florida a lot, and through places, up and down the East Coast. San Diego a lot. With old bands and stuff like that, like with Cheesy and the Crackers, another old band.
Yeah, I love that band. You guys were a trip. I still have those pictures, by the way, of when you guys used to come up and play the Warehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still get your pictures and stuff. In fact, cool. If I look hard enough, I might even find the old interview that I did with you guys way back when I had Locomotion Band News.
Years ago, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was a long time ago. But anyway, is there any, when you were touring, is there any one thing that stood out with you that kind of came as like a surprise, or kind of was almost like mesmerized you about being able to do what you were doing?
Well, I mean, it's just how receptive certain areas are is one surprising thing. Like when we went out to San Diego, the guys there were just so incredibly helpful. We didn't exactly know what to expect, but immediately they gave us a place to stay. Some of those guys were in bands, and they immediately gave us things to play on, because we were traveling light, so they let us use their drum kits. They gave me amplifiers to play on. They were out there booking shows for us, so that we didn't even have to do the booking. It's just, the amount of footwork that they put in just knowing that a band from the East Coast that they barely knew was, coming to play there, they couldn't have been more excited about it and more helpful.
Wow.
And it was surprising. And like Florida, same way. Like when people found out that we were coming to play down in West Palm Beach, by the time we got there, they already had other shows for us to play lined up, paying shows.
Wow. But
so,
see, to me...
It was really amazing how excited and into the scene some of these people would get, just knowing that we were coming from a distance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doesn't that kind of take you back, though? I mean, it seemed like that type of scene right there that you're talking about is almost like back in the 80s when everybody used to hand out flyers and everybody was going to check out someone's band, and, everybody got behind it and backed it up. And, but it seemed like you guys were... I know I would ask a lot. I was like, where are Cheesy and the Crackers, or where is this one, or, I haven't seen, this person or that person, and they're like, they're gigging and they're here, or this person's there, or this one's doing that, and I'm like, wow. And, I just think that it's very, I think it's really interesting, and I think it's really, really cool that you've, accomplished all that you've accomplished. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you very much. I have to do it. I can't imagine myself doing anything else.
Right. And see, there are people that like yourself and a lot of other musicians that I know that I find it hard to see them doing anything else but music. Do you see what I'm saying? And a lot of people look at me and they're like, well, Jackie, people have to live. And I said, that's true. I said, but I always felt like certain people, the reason why they're doing music and they just keep on going at it head first is because that's what they're supposed to be doing. Whether or not they get picked up or whatever, something is going to happen good. You know what I'm saying? And all the effort and the more you put into it, the more, something good is going to come out on the other side. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but anyway.
I definitely think so as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's no better recipe for success, in my opinion, than longevity.
Absolutely.
The longer you can keep it together, eventually your chances become 100% of being successful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I agree with you. There's so many bands out there that I've seen that, are literally in their 50s. And they're like, guess what? We sold a song. And I'm like, dude, that is awesome. And they've been working since they were 18 years old. And, yeah, they're a 50-year-old band. But guess what? They just sold their first song. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that it's going to take you that long. I'm not. But I am so happy to see that people are actually still doing that because, you have so many other things that are going on right now. And, I just think music to me is actually, everybody laughs, but it is the truth. To me, music is the answer to the problems we have going on in the world. I think if people would sit down and really listen to the things that people are saying in song, I really do believe there would be a lot more changes.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but anyway, let's talk about Photograph, which happens to be one of my favorites that you did. Tell me about Photograph and how you went about writing that.
Okay. It's a little bit of a interesting story.
That's cool. We got time.
And I might regret telling this one. But yeah, like I said, when you contacted me, you were looking. You said that you were you were contacting me because of diversity.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted an artist that had a diverse amount of styles, so that had a lot to do with the songs that I sent, and I think that was pretty obvious when you listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
Photograph. That is, a love song. Let's face it, it's a acoustic-driven love song. And, well, actually, it's a little bit of a jilted love song, a tragedy, too. But basically there was this girl that I ran into, and we got talking, and she ended up pulling out this picture from her pocketbook, and it was of me and her from about 11, 12 years prior to that, when she would come out and check out my old band. We were called the Turnstyles. Yeah, Walt was in there.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that because I remember coming out to see you guys. So, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into that band. But she had this photograph, and it's 11 years later. She was a kid at the time, and she wasn't a kid no more. And I was like, okay, hello. What would any other guy think? This is kind of cool. This is probably, this looks good for me. So me and her got talking a little bit. And she had a boyfriend at the time. So I didn't want to overstep any boundaries.
Right.
But she kept asking me to come in and visit her at work and stuff like that. And, I did kind of like her at the time, but I didn't want to, like I said, overstep any boundaries. So she kept hinting around the fact that, you know what, nobody's ever written me a song before or anything like that. So I started thinking about the photograph that, she had saved for the last 11 years. or whatever of the two of us, and that song ended up coming out of that, basically.
Wow.
Asking if I could write her a song.
Aww.
Yeah, well, the story takes a little bit of a turn in the fact that it didn't end up helping me.
Aww.
Anyway, it was still to no avail.
Mm-hmm.
But at least I got a cool song out of it.
Yes, you did. That's beautiful. Like I told you, it reminds me of like a commercial of something that's like going on in the mountains, or, you know, you're driving, but you're taking in your complete surroundings. And photograph is a perfect name for it, because it's almost like you're remembering everything that you're seeing. So I guess it would almost be like taking a photograph with your mind. You know what I mean? And putting it into song. That's what just blows my mind, because I just, when you run across somebody that can actually do that, I just think that's amazing. Seriously, I just do. And I think you're a great, great writer. So
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now, Waiting Without. What was that one about?
Waiting Without. Well, again, with the diversity thing, that is probably what I would consider to be the most diverse song in itself that I sent you. You know, like I said, it's essentially a rap song. You know, I'm doing a lot of rapping in there. Like I said, that type of thing influenced me a lot when I was growing up as well. But at the same time, it has to me like a Latin flavor or something like that. Like it almost reminds me of like a Carlos Santana with the music. You know, with you know, it's got this Hammond D3 line that's kind of dominating the whole thing. It's a lot of live guitars and live instruments, so it's got like a bit of a rock feel to it, with, you know, I don't know, you know, some sort of Caribbean influence in there, and at the same time there's rapping going on over top of it. And our mutual friend Kevin Hogan,
yes, Kevin,
you know, sings a little bit in it. So as you listen to the song, it's just really all over the place. You know.
Well, let me ask you something real quick. That song there, and I know this may be a far pitch, but to me, and I'm talking about me, we know that I'm a little twisted, so it kind of put me to mind, you know the song Maria Maria by Santana?
Yeah.
Okay. I know in a way it kind of put me to mind of that.
Yeah, me too.
And I know it may be far-fetched from what you were going for, but that's what kind of reminded me of.
I feel like that too. Like I said, Santana or something like that. Yeah, it's a little bit of like Santana meets the Beastie Boys or something. I don't.
Well, see, the way I saw it, and I know, like I said, it kind of reminded me, but it was like in that alleyway. You know what I mean? Of, I don't know, because if you listen to that song Maria Maria by Santana, if you get a chance to pull it up, it may not be exact, but it kind of put me to mind of that. That's all.
Right. No, I feel like that too. Like I said, with a little bit of, you know.
Yeah,
like
because they're rapping in it.
Say, a Caribbean backbeat or something like that going on with, you know, kind of like guitar solos, sweeping guitar solos going over top of it and stuff like that. I could see also how a Santana or something like that could be derived from that.
So.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, now tell me about Medication. What were you doing with that song?
Yeah, again, keyword diversity. That's just a weird rock and roll song. To be more specific, I would say it's from the point of view of a fictitious person. The lyrics, at least, are written from a character, from the mind of a person who is, there's references to having taken, like, medication to correct, hence the name of the song, Medication, to correct an imbalance, a mental imbalance. or
something like what I have, okay.
It's a little twisted, so you might like that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, you know why I say that? Because when I was listening to it, I had it going, and, my husband has PTSD. He's a Gulf War vet, and he was walking by, and he's like, what are you listening to? And I'm like, it's Randy. And he goes, Randy. I said, Richardson, the one on, and he goes, oh, yeah, you're interviewing him. I said, yeah. I said, what do you think of this? And I had to play, and he goes, that's interesting. He went back in the bedroom, but I could, I was in here doing my thing. His computer is straight across the room and in the other room, okay? But we could see each other. So I'm just sitting here with my face in my hands, just listening, and I'm like, wow. So, I mean, I can honestly say, with you, I think anybody could come to, and I think there's very few people that I can actually say this about. But if somebody came to you and said, Randy, I need a rock song with a salsa twist with a toss of this, and I really do think you could actually probably sit down and give them damn near exactly what they want. I really do believe that. Now that I've gotten a chance to listen to everything, and I really do believe, and it's very hard for me to say that, and there's only been a very few people that I would even give that to. But I really honestly think, and to hear the way you can do things, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I really think you're a really great writer. I really do.
Thank you. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I do feel like naturally I tend to go towards a broad, have a broad palette when I write.
Yes, and the thing is you can tell. Well, the thing is you can tell when you're listening. You have to understand when you have people that are listening to your music, and like I'm lucky enough to have a little bit of a musical background. I can't do 1/10 of what you can do. But the thing is when you have a little bit of a musical background and you listen and you're like, wow. Because I listen to all different types of music. Anything and everything. I listen to stuff worldwide. And I was when I find people like you, it's very, I just want to let you know that you're very, very much appreciated. And I really do think that pushing my ideas, and I really hope that I can, get you out to the right people, and hopefully, if we're lucky, somebody would hear the true diversity and the creativity that you put into your projects. I think that's what stands out the most,
Cool, thank you. Thank
you
very
much.
much.
You are very welcome. Now, where are you playing at? Do you have any scheduled places that you're playing that you can tell everybody?
Sure. This Saturday at the 93.3 WLMR Hollystock Festival. We play at 3 p.m. My band, Good Look Sigourney. We play at 3 p.m. on the Lucas Auto Stage, and that's a big, free, weekend-long festival.
Wow.
That they have. They have that every year. I think this is the fifth one.
Now, where is this at?
What's that?
Where is this?
It's in Mount Holly, New Jersey.
Okay. Wow.
So that should be pretty good. We have, I'm sure it's going to be good. It's a very well put together festival. We're also playing at the Liberty Music Festival at the Grape Street Pub on 8/20. And we're playing
is that Philadelphia?
locally around here at the MVP.
Okay. And the other festival is in what, downtown Philly?
Yeah, that's in Philly.
Okay.
At the Grape Street Pub.
Grape Street Pub, okay. And then you're going to be playing MVPs?
Yeah, August 27th, MVP over here
in Buena,
New Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have open mic night there. Me and Joey did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, yeah, back in, I think it was like 2008. Yeah, we did an open mic over there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of open mic, yeah, we're also we began hosting an open mic, I believe, on August 23rd in Palmyra at a place called Grand.
Ah, cool.
I think that's still going on, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it is, though. Yeah, so we got an open mic thing going on there, so people can feel free to stop out. And besides that, we have a few other things going on. Oh, there's this. We're in this contest for 1045.
Mm-hmm.
And it's open for Blink-182.
Wow.
Yeah. We think we're hoping to win this contest to open for Blink-182. We had to make a promo spot for 1045, an anti-jingle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 15-song or a 15-second anti-jingle
Mm-hmm.
that people vote on, and if we get enough votes, we win a chance to open for Blink-182.
Really? Now,
Yeah.
can you send me a link for that to put up on the podcast this, Friday, which is tomorrow. When I put everything up, can you send me, I need you to message me the link and that stuff so I can put it up on your announcement page. That's, that announces your interview on Facebook and,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as much help as we can get.
Okay, that would be cool.
Better, because it's all about votes.
Cool. All right. Like I said, I can't promise you a whole bunch, but, if I can get some people to do it, that would be great. So,
yeah, that would definitely be.
Now, wait a minute. Let's get back to the ska. So let's talk ska here.
Okay. Back with the old band.
Yes.
Yeah, the Turnstyles. We rocked out for a number of years. We did pretty good. Toured around quite a bit. Released a few CDs. Definitely played a big influence early on me. Defining my style.
Oh yeah. Well, it seems like the Turnstyles really, really turned out some really great musicians that turned around and went out in the world. It just seemed like you guys, those of you that didn't stay in, ended up with really, really great, careers going. And I haven't seen Ducky. I haven't seen any of them, since I left.
They still play a lot.
Are they still? Is he still with the Turnstyles?
They eventually that band kind of morphed into another band called Drop Dead Sexy.
Ah, that's right. Okay, I did have him on my page, and I never knew what happened to him.
Yeah, they still play a lot, mostly in New York.
Ah.
But they're all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I always wondered what happened. So.
Yeah, they're still actually with the same management company that we were with back in the day, called Sure Bet.
Now, you guys were the ones that actually formed the band, correct?
Right.
Okay, what made you go to ska, first of all? Because I always asked Walt, and Walt was like, it's cool. So,
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just, like I said, I was in high school in the 90s, and it just played a big influence on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just always, I liked the innovativeness of it. It was, just something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Very upbeat and fun. There were a lot of times horns and, Hammond B3s and, like, exotic instruments that you weren't used to when listening to just a rock band.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And you know what got me was you guys could pack an entire place with that. I was blown away because my ex-husband and I came down to see you guys. I can't remember the name of the place. It was down the shore.
Okay.
Brownies? Was it Brownies on the Bay?
Yeah, probably Brownies by the Bay.
Okay. And we came in, and I was like, I'm wondering if we're up to say, because we had to weed through the crowd to get to a table. And I was like, man, I couldn't believe you guys had an incredible fan base.
Yeah, I think that night we were also kind of promoting it, especially because I think we were doing a live recording that night, too.
I don't know, but there were people upstairs hanging off, where you could hang off and look down, and the entire floor was full. And I also have pictures of that, too. That was,
really?
My God, I have to find those. Oh, yeah. That was, before I got my digital camera.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a while ago.
Oh, God, yeah. That was a long time ago. But, yeah, that's when I started doing the, trying to do band promotion, but I hadn't become Local Motion Band News yet. Walt was like, I was kind of kicking it around, and I kept asking him, I was like, what do you think? And he's like, well, I think you should go for it. And then I think it was like a year or two later, that's when I actually kicked off Local Motion Band News. So, yeah. But, all right, Randy, I am not going to keep you. Thank you so very much for coming and hanging out with me. And is there anything else that you would like to tell your fans, or where can they go to hear your music, and where can they go to buy it?
You can. I sell most of my CDs through CD Baby.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can buy stuff online through that. You can also do like the normal iTunes type thing. There's a couple other places, Reverb Nation. You can always check stuff out on Spotify, too, if you have that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always go to Randy Richardson music.wordpress.com.
Wow.
And that's my main website.
Okay.
That links to everything.
All right, that's cool. When we're done, can you send me all those links so that I can set it to your face page?
Certainly.
Okay.
Certainly.
That would be cool if you'll do that. So, all right. Thank you again, dear. I really, really appreciate it. And to let everybody know, the very first song I'm going to be playing is Photograph. The second song that I'm going to be playing is Waiting Without. The third one is Medication. Again, this is Randy Richardson. Please go and check out all his music. Check out his websites. Incredible, incredible musician, singer, songwriter. He has a band. So please go check him out. And Randy, thank you again very much for being with me.
Thank you very, very much. Anytime, I am here.
Oh, you're welcome. Again, this is Jackie Eister Songistry, and I'm saying good night.
That old photograph, unchanged from the moment we met. One word could remove all regrets from me. A sad song was all I could do. Sad words that remind me of you. Verses no change from the boy you once knew. I wanna share everything I go through. I don't know if this dream can come true for me. But don't think that I'll fade away. I won't go until the colors turn gray. I have fallen far into your past until my time has come to pass. And you have my love until the last, until my time has come to pass. I had my doubts of leaving without you here. I'm waiting without you here. I'm waiting without. I can't live without you, dear. I'm waiting without you now. Feeling like a shell, I'm lashing out, screaming out, and yelling out. Why the hell did I figure out the truth too late? The time won't wait, we gotta give it all we got and never hesitate. Maybe if we contemplate the meaning of the past, we'll finally find the kind of life we hope will last. But the line is getting thinner that I walk on. I don't know if whether I should hold on or move on and get on with my life and not dwell on what I used to have, but is better left dead and gone. It would seem that fate's a very fickle thing. You never know the types of ups and downs that it brings, but it's the type of thing that we all learn in due time when we sacrifice our future for the past and so on. Here now, waiting To correct my social
deviation. And the water runs from the mountain top, and the river flows, but the rain won't
tied up so tightly.